Big Phil here on the old talk. Boy, well. It's amazing. It's amazing how certain fans know how to find me, but it's all good. It's all good. Today's match versus Arsenal saw us lose in the dying minute of the game. Final score: Arsenal 3, Manchester United 2. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing? How are you guys feeling right now?
I'll let President Chad go because I know he's on a clock.
I am honestly strange. It's strange. We lost the game today, right? But I feel less stressed and depressed than the result against Crystal Palace. For some reason, I felt more upset after Crystal Palace than I feel right now today. I mean, it's disappointing. I would have liked the draw, but I feel good. Strangely enough, I feel good.
Okay, what about you, Courtney? How you feeling?
I'm a little bit disappointed. I didn't agree with some of the decisions that Coachman made, mainly leaving when he was on for that long. I think the game needed a little more dynamic, something different. Probably a Garnacho. I would even take any longer taking the ball up and running at Arsenal's defense, because the few times that we did it, we were successful at it. So I'm disappointed at the loss. Yes, I don't know. I'm more like I feel like I'm more in line with President Chad. I'm disappointed, but I'm not 100% upset. If you understand what I'm saying.
No, I get where you're coming from, and with regards to today's result, you definitely don't want to lose versus Arsenal because you're going to hear about it for the next 2 3 weeks. You're going to,
Mhm.
right? But at the end of the day, there are some players, and to some extent, the manager have to take blame for some of the in-game decisions, right? Let me just get one comment here from Martin Phillip. Good afternoon. Always the first. Thank you, buddy, for tuning in. When lose or tie, you're always here, man. So I appreciate it, buddy. Um, yeah. With regards to how I feel now, obviously, me going into this game, I was a bit hesitant as to how we would approach this game because obviously we know we'll be missing the likes of Martial and also Casemiro. So two first team players that we definitely would need to have alternatives for, right? In my opinion, in today's match, I definitely can't see if Martial returns, if Whitehorse is ever going to get another start, and also Casemiro definitely shows the levels between himself and Scott McTominay as shown today, right?
No, to be fair to Scott, Scott comes in and does a job. Whether I think the debate is really, is he a Manchester United starter, or is he that Darren Fletcher type player that will come in, do a job, but he's not going to play every game for a full 90.
My take is Scott McTominay definitely fooled us all under Ole. He fooled some of you guys, not me, right? But I still think Scott McTominay. Um, I think this summer we got to find replacements for him. That's just me.
Yeah, well, we definitely have to get some replacements, some enforcements in the middle. Today we lacked a viable option off the bench, especially in the middle of the park. I disagreed with Coachman in the sense that I think coming down to the later stages of the game, we should have push Martinez into the midfield and add that extra body.
Now, I had even from the time when Casemiro when we realized that Casemiro would not be playing in this match.
Mhm.
One main question I was asking various United groups and on podcasts, can we play Lissandro Martinez as a defensive midfielder? Right? And everybody looked at me weird. And I was like, you do know this guy played defensive midfielder under Ten Hag for Ajax, right? But just to go back to this game now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I also thought I told myself this guy gonna take off Anthony because Anthony was doing F all. He was one of the most inconsistent players on the pitch. Right? A few nutmegs here and there, but he did his output was nothing. So Weghorst, I thought, stood on for too long. He could have easily took off Weghorst, put Garnacho on the left, bring Rashford in the middle, and we go from there. I don't know what you guys think.
No, I agree with you. Um,
I
I think. Go ahead.
I wasn't too I wasn't too perturbed by the lineup. Um, I was expecting Martinez to be in the midfield as well, but I wasn't perturbed by the lineup. I was perturbed by the substitutions. The
Mm,
first sub of Fred for Anthony, I could see that and I understood that. I had no problem with that sub. But I found that he should have taken off Wenghurst and brought on Garnacho earlier.
yeah.
Instead of
Around
trying to
the,
contain and control the midfield alone with Fred, we should have done that plus go for the win ourselves, right?
well,
Instead
not
of
even
allowing
for the
Arsenal
win,
so much
chat.
possession at the end of the game.
Remember, I think to beat Arsenal, you have to play on the front foot. So for me, at that 75th minute, when they started to increase the pressure, we should have had an outlet on the field that would have forced them to think twice.
And Ten Hag knows that we have players that are great on the breakaway, right? Why not bring on Garnacho? Why?
Well, he did, but it was too little, too late. He only brought on Garnacho after the goal
Well,
scored.
as far as I'm concerned, the way how Garnacho was brought on was the same way how Donny Van de Beek was brought on under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well, too, with 2 to 3 minutes trying to make a difference. Makes no sense. You bring on Garnacho when we concede, that don't make no sense, man. Come on, Ten
Yeah.
Hag, gotta do better.
Well, Coach Man will learn. I think it's a learning experience for him.
Let me go through some of the comments here. Darren, aka the ref. Good afternoon to you as well too. Martin Phillip is saying what United needs is a striker now and going forward. Yeah. I think we need two strikers. I have honestly in 2023 given up on Anthony Martial. Anthony Martial cannot stay fit, and I think we need to move past Anthony Martial. I want him to become somebody else's problem, right? Not ours, right? If he's there, he's there. If he's not, well, kudos, right? And Ref is saying again, aside from squad depth, we need to address how we adapt to challenges during the 90. And that's all part of in-game management, right? At the end of the day, football is either one in the midfield or is one with who has the better mentality, right? Or who can see things from different perspectives, right? Um, I mean, at the end of the day, it's losing to Arsenal you never want, but 3 points drop and they're getting their revenge on us. There are still some positives from this game, in my opinion.
Mm.
Um, I
Marcus
think,
continues his good run of form.
yeah, Marcus Rashford definitely is showing Gareth Southgate, who was in the crowd today, why he needs to be starting more often on either the left side or either up top to replace either Harry Kane or Raheem Sterling or whoever is on the left for England, right? That's a positive. Lissandro Martinez's first goal for Manchester United. I mean, I guess that's not how the way we wanted it to come. By the end of the day, it's his first goal. He unlocks his account and he can push on from here as well too, right? Um,
Well,
Trying to think. Yeah,
I would say this: we need to tactically change how we play, especially with a player like Weghorst on top. If you look at the game, although he on the defensive end he did his work, on the attacking end he didn't have much. He didn't have much work.
Wan-Bissaka
But,
had more touches in the 18-yard box than Weghorst. Weghorst
right,
has zero.
and the reason for that is that if you're playing, he's what 6'6"? No, not 6. He's 6'9", 6'10", somewhere there. He's tall. He's a tall guy.
Mm-hmm.
So if our wingers or our fullbacks are not pushing on and swinging that ball, then we have a problem.
Yes, I don't know if you want to add to that, President Chad.
Yeah, well, I just wanna to add to that, and then take my exit.
Mm-hmm.
As you'll realize, I just on the side of the road here.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody in the week, and I was telling them, everybody keep talking about Casimiro, 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 and I was saying my biggest miss was Martial, because this team has a chemistry with a Martial type striker on top. We are developing a chemistry with Wenger. I'm not saying Wenger was a bad investment. I'm not saying it was a bad loan. I'm just saying that this is his second game. It takes a little time for chemistry to develop. And I knew we would not have been able, our attacking output would have been limited because it's only Wenger's second game. You understand what I'm saying? And the bigger miss for me wasn't Casemiro. The bigger miss for me was Martial up top. And it showed itself today. That is exactly what caused what Courtney is talking about, in my opinion. If and I mean, we have some cup games coming up, and hopefully chemistry could develop, and this team would understand how better to play and how better to work with Weghorst, because defensively he was excellent. He was winning back the ball. He was tackling without regaining possession, without fouling. His off the ball work was great, but
Mhm.
we have to learn to play with that type of striker to really get the best out of him. And maybe this break, we have a couple games before we play in the Premier League again. Maybe this little Premier League break might actually be a good thing for us.
You know what was the interesting thing though?
All right, guys, I'm out. See
All
you
right,
all later.
President Chad.
Nice, President Chad.
I saw something. There was a play in the first half where they he got a true ball and the ball was played behind him and you see him saying, "Hey, that's not where to put it. Put it in
Mm-hmm.
front of me."
Correct.
No, I think we, especially for the wingers, Anthony, well, in this game would have been Anthony and Rashford. They need to look, because there were times when he was making that run. He was in line with that Arsenal last man, but a little way off. So if you curve that ball in the right space, he comes on it. So and then we have an issue too where I don't know why Coach Man has said that we need to play out from the back. The guy is 6'9", 6'10", on the ball. No, I am not a great Maran Fellaini fan, but Fellaini came on when he was here and did a job for us. He used to outmuscle people. He win in the headers, and he scored and he created a lot of goals from
Now
him.
here what it was done for, right?
Mm,
You play out the back when you need to, but when you realize that the likes of, let's say, whoever our wing backs are giving away the football, or even Anthony, right?
mm,
Pump that ball to Horse. The guy's six. The guy's over 6'5". The guy's 6'6", whatever, right?
mm,
Pump it to him, right? And then he can um, head it on to somebody. Rashford run onto it, and whoever, right? But at the end of the day, that's something Ten Hag has to learn, right? Like, and don't get me wrong. When Ten Hag was first appointed, I
mm.
said Ten Hag needs 2.5 to 3 seasons to get his team right. That's the same thing that Arsenal did with Arteta, right?
Right.
But don't Arteta won a FA Cup in his first season, but there were so many Arsenal fans. A majority of
Mm.
the Arsenal fan base wanted Arteta out, and
Yeah.
3 years later, they're 50 points, sitting on top of the Premier League, and who knows, possibly could win the Premier League, right?
I honestly, I think in that return leg against City, because the blueprint is there to beat them.
Yes,
If you watch, you have to beat Arsenal. You need to play on the front foot,
yes.
and you cannot let them control the midfield because their defense, it ain't all our show, you know.
No, 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 no. I think Arsenal's defense has our the quality players and a quality midfield can dissect Arsenal's defense, right?
Mhm.
Because in my opinion, Arsenal's defense is solid because they've stuck together for quite some time, but with the addition of Saliba, right? I
Well,
thought Arteta was able to implement into Saliba quickly how to play with the likes of Zinchenko. When I was Zinchenko, I would say more Gabriel and Aaron Ramsdale, right?
well,
So I
I'll
mean,
take it a step further from that though. I would say that the reason why they look that defensively solid is because they always have the ball.
yes, yes,
So if
yeah,
you have the ball and your opponent is stopped with the ball, nobody's attacking it.
correct. And I think I think that with regards to how Ten Hag wanted us to play today, it was mostly at moments we will control the football, but we should definitely focus on the breakaway because Man United away from home. I can only remember the Spurs game where I think we had a lot of control, but other than that,
Yeah.
Man United away from home,
We played
we
on the
don't
counter,
have exactly. We playing on the counter, right
which is
now.
not a bad thing. But at the same time, too, I think at the 75th minute when Arsenal had a good 10-minute spell of possession,
Yeah.
they you needed to change the game. So we had to step it up and find that next gear.
Now
And
here's my thing on playing on the counter, right?
mhm,
It's not exactly a bad thing, but
mhm.
for 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes, we got to soak up pressure.
Yeah, and that's a bad thing.
Exactly. We got to soak up pressure. I get one comment in from King Unruly Pre. Thanks for joining. He's saying Arsenal is fully confident. And yeah, Arsenal have been confident from game one. Let's be real, right? Um, like I said, Arsenal have had their manager for 3 years, 3 plus years, and you can see it started to take shape, right? It took shape under Jurgen Klopp after the first 2 seasons with Liverpool. It took a season for Pep to get Man City ticking again. So I'm not surprised as in the trajectory that Man United have made since we hired Ten Hag, right? Now, obviously, with regards to today's result, it's not one to fathom, but we
Mhm.
move on. So where do we go from here, Courtney? Or
Um,
I probably forgot to ask you if there were any positives from the match, and then where do we go from here?
Positives for me, Rashford's continued form,
Hmm.
Lisandro Martinez, looking as he normally does in the defense. I think positionally, where we have to go from here is we need to work. Now, I'm a big Wan-Bissaka fan. One-on-one defending, he's great. But we saw today where his weakness was. And I will be the first to admit it. Positionally for corners, he drops asleep a little bit. That first goal where Nketiah was behind him,
Yeah,
Nketiah should have never gotten that ball. But
correct.
he wasn't positionally aware. The last goal, again, I can't really vex with him for the last goal because he was confronted by two players and he had to make a choice. And unfortunately, he made the wrong choice. Um, so yeah, but that's something that they would need to go back on the training ground and work on. We also saw today that we need investment in the squad.
Yes.
Well, my question and the question that I've been having bouncing around in my mind for a while is what world class defensive midfielder is going to be willing to come to United and play in the short term a bit part role? That's
You
the
mean
question.
you mean for this window or the summer window?
Well, the summer window, we're going to have Casemiro for at least, what, 2 more seasons?
Yeah, how about that?
And barring him being injured or a great loss in form, I can't see anybody dislodging him from that starting point. Ericsson plays that quarterback position, so his pick is already there. So, yeah, who world class we gonna get to come in to actually play
My
a part role until
my take is we either do one of two things or one of three things. My first thing is that, like you alluding to what you said, Courtney, find a defensive midfielder, one, or find a proper center back and have Martinez swap between center back and DM. Now, if we sign a centre back, that centre back will not be playing regularly. That centre back
Mhm.
will come on knowing that Martinez, you're either subbing for Martinez or you're subbing for Varane or you're subbing on for another. You're probably sub for a midfielder. Then
Mhm.
we push
Yeah.
Martinez into the midfield, and you will come on as a centre back, right? Um, so yeah, that definitely has to be addressed. But then also, I think the midfield and a striker has to be addressed as well too,
Yeah.
right? Who is our? I was going to ask you who is our next fixture against?
I'm not sure. I know it's a cup game.
Is a
Let
cup
me check.
game. Let me
Google
see.
is my friend.
And it is fixtures. Let's do a quick Google here.
We playing
No, no.
Wednesday on the 25th. We play Nottingham Forest,
Okay, Nottingham Forest on the twenty
and then
fifth.
on Saturday we play Reading in the FA Cup. We have
Right.
an intense 2 weeks though.
We
We
do.
have
Yeah, because our next EPL game is against Crystal Palace at home. Yes,
mm,
from what it looks right here. But yeah, yeah, I think maybe some first team players will be given a rest. I think Rashford may be given a rest. I think maybe Garnacho and Weghorst and maybe Anthony may start. I still think Anthony needs to play every game to. The only
catch
reason
back.
why Anthony has cemented his place as the starting right back is because he used to play under Ten Hag, and I think he cost 100 mil. That's just my take.
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's because Sancho's not available.
And that as well too, right?
You
So
know, I
definitely
think we need to sort out that Sancho situation quickly. And the strange thing is the club hasn't said anything about it.
well, I mean, if Sancho takes the same path as Rashford, where we all know Rashford was going through some issues and challenges last season, and then
Mhm.
he's come off, he's rised above them, and now this season he's firing on all cylinders. If Sancho takes that same mentality and adapt to that as well, too, who knows? Sancho could give us a couple of goals, couple of assists, dribbling past guys, and what's not, right?
Yeah.
And pay back his price tag. 'Cause let's be real, Sancho is in his second season with United, right?
Mhm.
Um, I'm trying to figure out what else we can talk about, right? I mean, let's be real. Having lost to Arsenal on a Sunday when work is the next day isn't the best feeling ever. But they got their revenge on us. We took 3 points from
Well,
them. Yeah.
I would say this: that third goal, I have questions for that VAR referee. That line was real tight.
So I was told also whenever the line is very tight, you give them the goal.
Okay, fair enough. But
Yes.
I will say this: I think if we didn't get that decision last week, we'd have gotten this decision this week.
Some
Because that decision last week was so controversial, they would not have given us another controversial decision.
It's funny because some Manchester City fans actually wanted Man United to lose today, but I'm like, you do know you're chasing after Arsenal, right? You do know that this is your chance to win three on the bounce, right?
Hmm.
Oh, but we're focused on the Champions League. Yeah, you've been focused on the Champions League for the last three seasons, and you're done f all, right?
Well, I think that was a bit. If we stray a little bit, I think while yes, Pep has an eye on the league, he really needs that Champions League in his locker.
Oh yeah, he needs to break. He
I
needs to
don't think
break. He needs to
has he
break
got
that.
anything
I
left.
can
I don't know.
only. He needs to break that. I can only win the Champions League with Messi curse, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I would say this: the new thing would be he could only win the Champions League with Haaland. It is what it is.
Boy, if Sheep Mansour gives Pep all of the artillery that he needs, throws cash at him every single summer, he still hasn't won the Champions League by this campaign. I don't think Sheik will fire him, but Sheik will probably bring him upstairs and start to question. Okay, we've given you X amount of money. Yeah, you're giving us Premier Leagues, but at the end of the day, if we want to be considered um, one of the top clubs in Europe, right?
We
Not
need a
only
Champions League.
not only because we can throw money at any and everybody, and we're coming in the top two every season in the EPL, but at the end of the day, that still doesn't count for anything when you're not lifting that big trophy with the ears, right? So
Yeah.
let's go through a few more comments from Martin Phillip. Martin Phillip is saying Rashford has to be fed better than he was today. That I definitely agree on for sure. I can't think of any mistakes Rashford made. You know, what I mean, he for the goal that he scored was a brilliant goal, sent party back to Atletico Madrid or Ghana, whatever, right? But yeah, I mean, there are times where it becomes kind of predictable when we're on the back foot, then we get the ball. We don't look
Hmm.
to build it up. We look to find the fastest person on the pitch, and that just happens to be Marcus Rashford or Garnacho. In the case of when we played the Manchester Derby, right? And last comment from Martin: if United makes top four, which they should, many good players would like to come. United is a big club, yeah, for sure. Um, Top four is still in our hands. We are level on points with Newcastle, but they're ahead of us because of a goal
Goal
difference.
difference.
We still have to play them at St James Park, if memory serves me correct, because
Yes, we do.
we drew with them at Old Trafford, and it will be a very interesting finish to this season.
Yeah.
I I don't think much United fans and even rival fans had us to finish in the top four. You
I
know,
didn't. If I'm being honest, I didn't.
okay, you didn't or you did.
No, I didn't. I had us finishing actually fifth or sixth, because I
Same here as
expected
well.
Ten Hag to have issues with the squad and the squad depth for the length of the season. We would have had some issues, but I'm happy where we are at. I hope that we could continue that game, that being a form. Even though we lost today, we could bounce back and go on a nice little run in the EFL Cup. I think for now, in the short term, our next focus should be that EFL run. And then in February, we can start looking at that Europa League run.
Before we wrap up, Courtney,
Mhm.
Martin Luther said, "Big Phil, you're talking to the wrong City fans." I could. I don't want to obviously point out a whole bunch of City fans and have them be accountable for all City fans across the world, right? That's just me being me or whatever, right? So, the last question I want to ask you,
Mhm.
Martin, you can also answer this question, Martin. What would be a successful season for Manchester City? And I throw the question to, I guess, myself and Courtney. What would be a successful season for Manchester United, in your opinion?
In Manchester, for a successful season, um, an EFL trophy win, because I don't see there isn't any top tier, and I use that word very loosely,
Yeah,
top tier competition left in the competition.
correct.
Um, a good FA Cup run. I think semi-finals, I'll take a semis or even a final. Um, as for the Europa League is going to be a little bit tricky because we do have Barcelona to play in the next round. And let's be fair, even though Barca is no longer the team that they once were,
It's
they're
still
still a top
Barcelona.
they're
Yeah,
still a top tier team.
correct. Yeah,
So I think maybe a semis or around a 16, depending on how things go. I think that Barca game is the wrong at 16 or the wrong at
yeah,
no, that's the wrong at 32.
yeah. Wrong with 32.
So round of 16, maybe even a semis. But for me, I want to see, for me, what will classify as a successful season is definitely winning that EFL trophy
Yep,
and showing the improvement that we expect out of the squad. So again, we've seen it any City game in the years gone by, we'd have gone down to City and we'd have, collapsed. I'm now seeing a fight. So as I tell people all the time, I have no problem losing games because losing games is a part of football.
correct.
But there's a difference between losing a game and just lying down and taking whatever they gave.
Yeah, again, it bent over like his Trinidad Carnival. Yeah.
Correct. So
Yeah.
this for me what would be a successful season.
Okay. Yeah. No. 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 That kind of inter what's the word intersects with what I'm talking about per se,
Mm,
or what I was about to mention. EFL Cup, definitely I want to get to the final, and I think the two teams who are in the final. Hopefully, it's Manchester United will take care of each other after that. Hopefully, we come out victorious. Um, I can't remember who is in the FA Cup. I know who is it. I know Manchester City is still in the FA Cup.
Well, City has to play Arsenal.
Arsenal, yeah, Arsenal, right. So Manchester City still have to play Arsenal. I would like us to see us go far in that cup as well. We got to get past Barcelona in the Europa League. So I guess my answer will vary. I guess if we do beat Barcelona or if we are knocked out, my answer I guess would vary in the future.
Mhm.
But I got past something by you, Courtney, and you tell me if this also would be more successful than any trophy that we've won. I think part of a successful season for Manchester United is the club being sold from under the Glazers.
Well, yes and no. I would say yes because we really need somebody to come in that knows football and understands what it takes to run a football club and run it correctly. But my mother had a saying, better the devil that you know than the one that you don't.
Now, here's the thing: there are potential suitors that actually care about the club.
Well, I'm seeing somewhere I was reading this week that people are against Sir Jim coming in for a number
Really?
of different reasons. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, I
Can't
didn't
remember
know
what the reason was, but they don't think he's the right owner for the club.
that.
Um,
Well, he's a Manchester United fan, so I mean,
yeah, but I think it's something to do with his business practices. They're not too enthused by how he runs his business, But we'll see how it goes. Um,
no. Here's the thing, Courtney. I don't whether it's sold to Sir Jimmy Radcliffe and Ineos or somebody in Dubai or Saudi Arabia who can at least take the club from under the Glazers' hands, I still think that that will be a successful season. Right? Still want EFL. Still want us to go on a long run in both Europe and FA Cup. Still want us to make top four. But I think this is something that we have been not well most if not all United fans have been praying for at least the last 10 to 15 seasons, that the
mhm.
Glazers out, and we will then be funded by someone who actually cares about the club and that can steer us in the right direction.
Yeah, I would agree with you. But we'll see how it goes. I think that deal wouldn't be done before the end of the season.
Well,
I think the deal.
they want it to be done by March.
Well, hmm, I ain't seen that. No, no, no. I would quicker believe that the buyers are going to hold to see where we finish,
Correct.
and then based on that make their decision.
Correct. Let's get into more comments. Martin is saying, I feel United will finish second. Really? And you're a City fan? Wow.
Nah,
Arsenal third?
nah. Unless
Wow.
Arsenal has totally self-destructs.
If
It's
Arsenal finish third, Martin, Arteta needs to be fired. I'm sorry.
well,
Arteta
it's
needs to be
stretching it a little bit
fired.
there.
I
It's
will say
stretching it a little bit.
Arteta needs to be fired.
It's
Third,
stretching it a little-
you beat Man United. This is now you are about to be top of the table by the end of January. Doesn't matter what happens, right? And you should tell me between the next 2 months, February, March, April, they could drop to third. I
Yeah,
mean,
but it's well, I wouldn't say it has happened, but we've seen teams, come out at the end of December, end of January, being on top of the table and then to lose the league. So it's not impossible. But
okay,
based on their form right now, unless there's a major injury crisis in that squad. So I think it could happen. They're not necessarily coming third, but losing that title run if they lose either Saka or Odegaard.
true. All right, last comment before we wrap it up. Martin said a great season for City is the league, FA Cup. Yes, we know that is a great season for City, but you should let us know which trophies out of those you think you're going to win, right? If you still think you can do the triple, the treble, sorry, then by all means go for it, right? But I don't
They
know.
could.
I don't want City doing no damn treble. Sorry.
No, I don't want it either. But in theory, they could. I
Yeah.
do see, unless Arsenal drops their form, I don't see them winning the league. And I'm being very honest. I don't want Arsenal to win. I would rather City win. But I do see Arsenal dropping their form based on current things.
Correct.
The FA Cup, on the other hand, is going to be very tricky.
Yes.
Because their next game, City's next game is against Arsenal.
Arsenal, yeah.
So that is still up in the air. And the Champions League is always going to be a tricky.
Who got in the Champions League?
I don't know. Let you see. Google is your friend, I know. City Champions League fixtures. They are playing
RB Leipzig?
Yeah, Leipzig.
Yeah.
Which is not a shilling team. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Leipzig is not a shilling team. Leipzig, let me see. Where's their form in the German league?
Yeah. Anyway, this has been was it for?
And they've drawn one and won four in their last 5 games.
Yeah.
So yeah, Leipzig is not a shilling team. It's not a walkover team. At this stage in the Champions League, they are not a walkover team again. Football is played on the day.
I agree. Well, Courtney, thank you very much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to join me on Old Talk. It wasn't
no problem, man. You know, it's always good vibes in the Old Talk.
Oh yeah, always, man. Whether we win, lose, or tie, united till we die, right?
Facts.
This is Big Phil, and we are out. Let me see if there's one more comment from Martin. Oh Lord. How would y'all feel if United win a trophy and make top 4? The Glazers might stall. Nah, they ain't gonna stall. Glazers are not gonna stall.
That ain't making sense.
Yeah,
business-wise, it's the highest point that the club would be at the point in time.
Man United already announced on their official website that there will be some major restructuring and changes with regards to the club. So that they ain't gonna stall. They're not stupid.
I think they want out. They for me personally, I think they reached a stage where you see when United fans started to attack their American base.
Yeah.
That is when things turn.
All right, guys. Well, that was the last comment from Martin. Thank you very much, Courtney, again. And as President Chad will say, Red Devils, we don't die, we multiply. Good evening to everyone.
Hey, if you appreciate what we're doing here at the United Hour, please like,